Energized Show, up the Irish.
Okay, what's going on, guys? And welcome to a brand new episode of Energized, brought to you by Forge Irish Stout and Or Kings Competitions. Ross,
are you intoxicated or something?
Introduce the guest, man.
Today we are bringing you the CEO of violence, the CEO of BKFC, the one and only Dave Feldman. Dave, how you doing, my friend?
What's going on, guys, man? Thanks for having me.
Dave, it's great to have you on, bud.
Only too delighted to have you. Is this the first Irish podcast you've ever done?
This is absolutely
the first and best, you know, man. Set that tone high. Dave, things are blowing up in the world of BKFC at the moment. It is definitely the fastest growing sport in the world. I think it's 6 years since the first event, and you must be nearly 80 events plus into it. How did you get the idea of doing BKFC, and how hard was that to get off the ground that it is bare knuckle?
Well, I was promoting boxing and mixed martial arts, and one of the guys I ran into was a traveler, and he fought for me, and he was like, yo, you got to check out the bare knuckle fights that we do, you know, in fields or in the back of the house or wherever it is. And, you know, families are putting money against betting against other families. You know, they have problems with each other and they put the money up and they solve the family dispute and they win the money. And I heard this, like I watched it, but I heard that bang. And I was like, that's it. That's the sound we're missing. Like bang. I was like, holy shit. That's it, man. So that's what really got me started with the idea of it. And then, you know, I did one event in 2011 at a Native American casino in Arizona, 700,000 viewers. The site crashed and I didn't get paid, but I was like, yo, man, I'm on to something. So then here comes the bad part is I went around to all these different states trying to get it legalized and no one wanted to talk to me. Like they were like, man, get out of here. You're crazy. It's not safe. It's not, you know, it's barbaric. It's all this stuff. So I was able to, you know, learn as I was moving how to pitch this thing. And then I ran into a guy, his name is Brian Pedersen. He was the commissioner of Wyoming in the United States. And he was like, man, I love this. Let's do it. So June 2nd, 2018 was our first legally sanctioned and regulated bare knuckle fight ever in the history of the world. It was never legal or sanctioned or regulated ever in the world. So it was our first one. And this past September 13th, we just did our 100th event.
Dave, you're an absolute trailblazer.
Yeah, Dave, sorry, for that first event in 2018, how many people were in attendance?
1,200 people. That was it. But it was trending #1 on Twitter all over the world. Like not #1 in sports. It was a #1 thing trending on Twitter. And I was like, holy shit, man, this is unbelievable. We're going to be a multimillionaire. And then I learned a lot about piracy that night and everybody stole the event. But I still had over 2 million people watching it live. So I was like, man, this is incredible, man. So, you know, we just pushed forward 8 years. We did some underground fights, a lot of underground fights to get people talking about it in warehouses and stuff. I actually fought in a few of those because opponents didn't show up. So I stepped in and fought. And there we are. We got it legal in 2018 and just off to the races.
That was a heavyweight tournament to start off, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And what's called, you stepped in to fight. What's that like when you're there in the night trying to run a show and then they're like, Dave, we need you. And it's like, what do you need me for? To fight this guy over here.
It was actually like, I was like, fuck it, I'll fight. Cause I had big, like Men's Journal magazine, Rolling Stone magazine. They all came to do articles and the guy didn't show up. And I was just like, what am I going to do? I'll just do it. And I ended up winning by knockout, which was great. You know, I am a former professional boxer. And I'm always down for, you know, a good fight anytime, any place. It's in my DNA, man. It just is, man. I grew up in fighting, so, you know, I'm always down. And we did it. We had to save the show.
Yeah, Dave, we obviously have you on in the build-up to BKFC in Marbella on October 12th. A quick question for you. If someone pulls out, will you end up going in and competing?
No, man, I'm done. I actually just got my nose fixed about a year ago. So now I can breathe finally for the first time in 30 years. I'm not doing that again.
Congratulations.
Let's keep it fixed. We do want to get into your latest investor, Conor McGregor. But before that, am I wrong in saying that I saw maybe 2 or 3 years ago at this stage, you were in Vegas and you were with Dana White, and there were talks of Dana White coming in on BKFC at some stage.
Well, I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff, but it just didn't really even go anywhere. It wasn't time, but it's going to be time. I mean, it's going to be time when someone big out there, wants us, because the traction we're getting is unbelievable. I mean, I don't think any sport ever grew as fast as this ever. And now we added rocket fuel with your guy, Conor McGregor, and I think it's going so fast now.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that man touches goes viral. It really, really does. And like that man, I know I saw at the weekend there, he launched the cigars, effectively. I feel like that man can launch anything, and it just absolutely like generates revenue and generates traction. What are the social numbers like for you guys ever since Conor's come on board?
I mean, they're blowing up. Like anything that Conor's on, like you said, what he touches, it turns to gold. I said in an interview before, I said, look, man, he's got the Midas touch, and I want that touch. Touch us, man. Turn us to gold. And he is. The thing is this isn't another business for him. He actually really loves this. Like, this is something I can see him doing. And this is also something, I think he has a chip on his shoulder. And this, for other reasons, as you guys probably know, and I think this is part of that chip on his shoulder.
I actually think he's somewhat jealous of the fighters. You know that, Dave? I feel like he's jealous that he can't, contractually, he can't get in there and just go.
He wants to fight, man. I swear, man. You got to see him at ringside. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And listen, who better to fight bare knuckle fighting, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, Dave, can you tell us how the friendship first started between you and Conor, and then how the partnership then came about?
Yeah, man. It's just he came to one of the fights, and we went back and forth actually about Forged Irish Stout to be a sponsor of ours. And then, I just started talking to him, and I like him a lot. Like, I really do. Like, he's a good person. He didn't forget where he came from. He didn't. And, I know he's got this persona on him that he has to be. He's Conor McGregor, right? I mean, anything he touches turns to gold, and everybody wants a picture of him. Everybody wants to look at him. So he has that persona. But outside of that, man, when you just get to, sit down and talk to him, man, good dude, man. Really, really like him.
I think sometimes being Irish, you actually forget how much of a superstar he is until you see him like going over to the AJ Fury or AJ versus Dubois fight, and then seeing him there with like Tyson Fury and Terrence Bud Crawford and rubbing shoulders all those guys, and like he's getting the most fanfare out of all of them. It's one of those ones where you go, Jesus, like you almost forget how much of a global superstar that man really is. And I'm sure the love he gets in the States is unbelievable, especially with all the Irish expats that are out there. I'm sure it's absolutely insane, and like just to have him, as you say, with the Midas touch with BKFC is only just going to blow up the project faster, because it was blown up without it. But I think now it's hitting tractions like there's no tomorrow.
That's what I said. Like, it was going so fast, and then we just got this little bit of fuel to go even faster, man. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, man, he's like in Marbella, we did the press conference, and there was like 3,000 people waiting outside the hotel just to look at him. Like, literally just to look at him walk from the car to the door of the place. It was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I've been around a lot of top fighters, a lot of stars, but he's an absolute superstar.
Yeah.
And Dave, did you get a good giggle at the weekend when he was over at the AJ Dubois fight? And anyone who'd listen, he was doing an interview with Ariel Helwani, and he said BKFC Marbella. I think he interrupted an Alexander Usyk interview to go up and tell him BKFC Marbella. Are you expecting all the superstars out for this one?
Yeah, man. I think it's going to be very, very star-studded. It's going to be an unbelievable event. It's an event, right? This one's actually an event. It's we're going to do the fight. We're going to have 12 fights, 3 championship fights on the card. It's going to be, I think it's one of our best match cards we've ever done. But then we have a full-blown concert afterwards for the after party with Conor McGregor's label, Greenback Records. So that's going to be incredible too. So it's going to be, like I said, very star-studded. I think the people are going to love it. It is high-priced tickets, and we're selling them like crazy. So it's going to be an unbelievable event.
Dave, do you see this as being your biggest event yet?
I think our the most media and the most attention we're going to get on an event, but it's not the biggest event we've ever done. We've done events with probably 3 times the attendance, but and great numbers. But I think as far as perception goes and as far as notoriety goes, I think it's our biggest event.
I think you're going to have to come up with a name that, like, I know you have Knucklemania, but you're going to have like the SummerSlam equivalent for Marbella.
Absolutely, man. Come up
Knuckle
with
slam.
El Knuckle. And Dave, how'd you come up with, like, why did you pick this arena?
Well, we were one of my guys that fights Franco Tenaglia. He's from Spain, and he fought in the UK for us a bunch of times. And he told me we need to do a fight in Spain. So we started looking, and then one of my business partners said, "You got to come to Marbella." We went there and we saw the arena, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is unbelievable! Like, we're gonna do a bare knuckle fight in a bullfighting ring, unbelievable." So it's just, it's not the nicest, most up to date arena you'll ever see, but I mean, it's down for this action.
Yeah. Like, what happens if it rains?
It's not going to rain. Don't.
Yeah.
Baz, shut up. You're banned from the podcast. No more speaking for the rest of the episode, right? Don't want to hear.
I'm banned. Just in
hear
case. I don't know.
You know what? You can go to the event, but once exhibit starts playing, you're not allowed to watch. Right?
I'm barred from this. And Dave, like, also you have to sign a new contract with the Zone. Like, how did that come about, and like, how much bigger do you think the Zone can make BKFC?
I think it can make us a lot bigger. I mean, this is something that's been in talks. We had a tentative deal with them about 4 years ago, and it was just not the right kind of terms for us. So we went a different direction, and they came back with a very significant offer for us. I think it's big for us because I think so far we've got a lot of MMA fans watching us, but we don't have a ton of boxing fans watching us, and they're the biggest boxing platform in the world. So I think they're going to, grab a bunch of those boxing fans and make them BKFC fans. So I think it's very significant for, it's a great monetary deal for us, but it's also going to have so many brand new fans watching this incredible sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, especially, from what else they can bring in terms of, like you said, the eyeballs, which also then gives you guys more opportunities to get newer and bigger sponsors on board, or when sponsor deals come up, like you're on a bigger platform now, you're getting more eyeballs on you. Like, it's a revenue generator all around, Dave, isn't it?
No, absolutely. I mean, it works everywhere. I mean, look, we'll do talks with Matchroom, and we'll see if we can do something together with them in the future now. So it brought a lot of great synergies together. But I mean, as far as the fan base, I mean, no one in combat sports, I mean, no television platform anywhere in the world really has a bigger boxing platform than the Zone.
And tell me this, Dave, the man who seems to be running in combat sports these days is Mr. Turk Ali. Have you had any chats with him? And do you think maybe you could do some sort of BKFC event in Riyadh season?
Yeah, news coming. Conor had a great meeting with him yesterday. Fantastic news coming.
Oh, unbelievable. Because I know Queensbury fought against Matchroom in a 5v5. What about BKFC versus Matchroom in a 5v5?
Why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. I don't think those guys are going to want to take the gloves off, but we'll see, man. Look, AJ, if you saw, AJ said that his second favorite sport was bare knuckle fighting. So you never know.
Yeah, it's just the way it's packaged and all, and the way it's presented. It's just like it's some show. Dave, also I have to ask you the question about Mr. Is it Rain Walls, who got a tattoo on his back of yourself and Conor McGregor, like, meeting. Have you seen the tattoo, and are you a fan of the tattoo?
I saw the tattoo actually when he weighed in, and he went like that in front of me, and I was like, holy shit, this guy has a tattoo with me and Conor. I mean, listen, man, it was a cool thing, but I don't encourage the fighters to keep doing that, because then he ended up getting, he did get knocked out that day, and not a good look for us.
Yeah, is that the only person has a tattoo of you? Because I know loads of people have tattoos of Conor.
A lot of people have BKFC tattoos, but I didn't see anyone with pictures.
Okay. It's the first time your face has been on another man's body, which is weird when you say it that way. Just touching on you guys talking about Matchroom, what would you make of Mr. Mick Tyrrell versus Anthony Joshua in a comeback fight?
I mean, it depends where it's at, right? In bare knuckle, it's a different world. These guys aren't used to it. It's just completely different. It's way more fast paced. It's a different hurt. Like, it's not hurt where you can get knocked out, obviously, but it's not hurt where you're getting a thump. It's hurt where you're like, oh man, that hurt. Like, it's a different hurt. And so, man, that would be very, very interesting.
And you know what? I obviously, I don't know what way you would say one of the biggest selling points of BKFC is, Dave. But like, for me, when I look at BKFC, the reason why it's so much, like, I would say in terms of combat sports, I would sort of say UFC is top, and then sort of, it's weird to say boxing because there's sort of various different promoters or whatever, but like your sort of Canelo's, your AJ, and then like I would say BKFC is next, and it's on the catch up. And the reason for it, in my opinion, is that you can take anyone from any combat sport and put them in BKFC, and it's actually more exciting than the sport they were doing, as opposed to, you can't take someone like, if you take, I don't know, say anyone, Sean O'Malley, and have him box for Gervonta Davis, I feel like that's less exciting. You put Gervonta Davis in BKFC, more exciting. You put Sean O'Malley in BKFC, more exciting. It's the one sport in the world that you can take a fighter from a different combat sport, put them in it, and it's instantly more exciting.
Absolutely, man. That's what I said when Conor fought Floyd back then. I was like, imagine him taking the gloves off and being able to clinch. It's a different outcome then. It's a more exciting fight, and it's a different outcome because now you're in Conor's wheelhouse, right? I'm not saying Conor would definitely beat him, but I'm saying it would have been a lot closer fight.
Conor would tell you he definitely would have beaten.
Yeah, he could. He could.
Dave, speaking of exciting fights, is there any sort of dream fights you'd like to match make in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I had some actually. It happened in boxing. Like I wanted Tyson Fury versus Ngannou. I thought in bare knuckle that would have been incredible. Obviously we'd love to have Conor against anyone in the world. Would be a dream fight for us, because what does that do for the company?
That Jeremy Stevens fight looks exciting, doesn't it? Him versus Jeremy.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we have a couple of big guys we're going to announce this week that are coming on board with us, and I think some of those guys versus Conor would also be very, very fantastic. We're going to announce a huge card here by the end of the week.
Is there any names you can break?
No, I can't, but maybe I can break them for you next week.
Okay, very nice.
No,
what about Mike Perry? Like Mike Perry is he's his trajectory of his career ever since leaving the UFC and joining up with you guys has been absolutely crazy. Like what would you like to see Mike Perry do next?
He's going to be part of that announcement.
Okay,
he'll be part of that announcement. He's got something big coming up. I mean, look, Conor fired him, but he fired him for a different reason. He fired him because when he was supposed to talk about BKFC all fight week, he launched his own fight promotion. So that's why we were pissed off. We weren't pissed off that he lost. I mean, it sucks that he lost, but I still think he has a different enigma about him for bare knuckle, right? Like it's just different. It's a different sport. He went over there. He did, to me, really kind of look like shit over there. But I mean, at the end of the day, is he got in there into a different sport, into boxing with a guy that's, I'm not saying he's a great boxer, but he's a very good boxer now, Jake Paul. So,
Okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't aware. Yeah, I wasn't aware Mike Perry actually did that. But look, we have to ask you, like, when do you want to bring bare knuckle fighting championships to Dublin?
I mean, how fitting would it be around St. Paddy's Day, right? That would be incredible. But I know there's so many things that go on then. But I think somewhere around that area, I think it would be unbelievable.
Yeah, we definitely be here for it. And like, I suppose that leads into the next question. Do you have your eye on many Irish fighters who you'd like to have fight on the promotion?
We're getting reached out to by a lot now, but we'll do a tryout. We'll do a search for all around Ireland for the right fighters. I mean, there's definitely a lot of pro boxers reaching out to us now. There's some MMA guys reaching out to us as well. But as soon as we publicize it that we're coming to Ireland, it's going to be a huge influx of fighters.
I don't know what the state of Sinead Kavanagh's contract is with Bellator and the PFL, but like, she will be absolutely insane BKFC. Like, she is made for it.
I think, if I'm right, she just followed me yesterday, so I think maybe she's interested.
That's breaking news.
That probably is. And I do want to touch on this BKFC Marbella card. Like, what a card for me! Like, one of the phenoms of the card is Austin Trout. Like, he had an unbelievable boxing career and sensational. He got in there with the best in the world: Canelo, Cotto, Charlo, you name it. And he's come over to BKFC, and to me, he's been sensational. He's coming up against Franco in this fight, who's more experienced in the BKFC world. What do you make of this fight? Because this one to me is such a high level.
I think it's a closer fight than anything Austin Trout ever had for bare knuckle, because he is very experienced in bare knuckle. He figured out bare knuckle really well, Rico Franco. But Austin Trout looks sensational against Luis Palomino. So You know, it's going to be hard to take Austin Trout down. I mean, he's been there with everybody in the world, but a very, very exciting fight. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the main event. Tony Soto taking on Franco Tenaglia. And that's going to be an unbelievable fight. And then the feature fight is Dave Mundell taking on Danny Christie, who's a big UK fighter for us. That's going to be fireworks all over it. And then there's two others that I'm really interested in. I'm interested in all of them because I've never seen a lot of these guys fight. But Hannah Rankin, two-time boxing world champion out of Scotland, is making her bare knuckle debut on the card. So that's going to be awesome. And then Dan Chapman, he's Indian Spice is his nickname. He's like almost like a Floyd Mayweather of bare knuckle fighting. So he's, you know, we're definitely trying to build him up on this. But Marbella is going to be sick, man. You got to get your tickets now or make sure you tune in for it. It's going to be an unbelievable card, October 12th.
Absolutely, it really is, David. Like you've really stacked the deck. One interesting one that you have on the card is probably touched on the realm of the influencer boxing. You have Ben the Bane Davis versus Oscar Willis from the Mac Life. Tell us, how did this one come about, and what are your expectations for this fight?
Oscar asked me about it when we did the press conference in Marbella, and I was like, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to do this influencer stuff. But then, you know, I heard that he was really training. He did have a couple fights. So, you know, he had a couple fights. Ben Davis had a couple fights. And is it going to be the best fight in the world? It could be. You want to know why? Because two guys that go in there that are of equal talent go in there and fight and have nothing to lose. And it's their first bare knuckle fight each. It could be a tremendous fight. It really could be.
Yeah, well, like, look, I suppose if they're both on an equal playing field, you know, of equal experience, they really, really could be. So it's definitely one from a media perspective that we're definitely interested to see who gets their hand raised.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like bragging rights too, right? So I think it's going to be a war, man.
Yeah, I think so too.
The winner of that could fight for a title, the influencer title. Who knows?
Right.
But Dave, we're obviously absolutely buzzing for the event on October 12th, live in the Zone and in Marbella. I'm sure the build-up for it is going to be unbelievable because the content you guys create as well is absolutely sensational. So congratulations to the social media team there. Dave, is there anything else you want to say to all the BKFC fans and new fans tuning in?
Nah, man, I'm just thanks for tuning in. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship is the most fast-paced, most exciting combat sport on planet Earth. There's nothing you'll ever see like it. Borderline brutal. It's bloody. It's magnificent. It's unbelievable. Make sure you tune in October 12th. You can get all the information at bkfc.com or follow us at Bare Knuckle FC on Instagram and Bare Knuckle FC on Facebook, man. It's going to be a tremendous card. And for all the Irish fans listening, we are coming to Ireland.
There you have it, Baz. They're not here to take part. They're here to take over.
There you go. Let's go. Thank you, guys.
Energized Show, up the Irish.
So Ross, that was our new best mate, Dave.
The CEO of Violence, baby.
The CEO of Violence, man.
What a guy. Like, I think like what he's done has been absolutely incredible. It's not easy to run a combat sports promotion these days. And not only is he doing it, he's doing it better than anyone else, I think. So fair play to him. I think it's just like the UFC is probably the only one you can say is doing better than BKFC in terms of combat sports. I think boxing's a bit funny because there's like Matchroom, there's Queensbury, and like you only really ever see how they're doing on a high level, like with the big superstars. Like I don't know if you're 5-0 in your time with Queensbury, are they looking after you or not? It's hard to tell. Yeah,
it doesn't really seem like the Queensbury or Matchroom. It doesn't. They never really seem to do any smaller shows. So maybe
maybe they do, and we just don't know about them.
Yeah, well, like that, I don't really see them going around.
Yeah,
like a fight night rather than a pay-per-view, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's hard to know really.
Whereas BKFC are doing fight nights and pay-per-views.
Yeah,
and the trajectory is sort of it is slightly similar to the UFC as well.
Yeah, but I also think for fighters, if they're like, oh, will I do BKFC or will I do boxing? Like the road to the top is much shorter in BKFC. Like if you sign with BKFC and win 4 or 5 fights, like they're gonna be looking at you as like one of the top dogs already. You win 4 or 5 boxing fights, like you're still bottom of the pile.
I know Dave mentioned a few people are going to sign with BKFC. Who do you think some of them names could be?
Oh, hard to know. Like, see, it's such a big organization worldwide. It literally could be anyone. Like, really, really good.
What about Darren Till?
Yeah, I think that would be class. If they could get Darren Till, I'd be all over that. Darren Till, Mike Perry. There's the fight.
I know, yeah. You see, I'm just thinking, what fight could they hold in the Tree Arena?
Darren Till,
Main
Mike Perry.
Yeah, but I think they put that on America though.
Could do it in the UK.
But what fight do you think was Sinead Kavanagh main event?
No, if it's they have Mike Perry, Darren Till, that'll be the main event.
I know, but like if they're doing one in the Tree Arena,
I'd still pick that one. Because
Well,
Darren,
like,
Darren Till owes the fight here. He's supposed to fight Robert Whittaker in the UFC here. So Darren
Well, like,
Till owes the fight. Get back here.
the Irish fans would love a Mike Perry main event, definitely.
Yeah. Mike Perry's 2% Irish. Get me over here.
Oh,
You can't give me Mike Perry, Darren Till, and then be like, oh, pick something else.
What's the odds it's gonna rain in BKFC Marbella?
0, man. Don't stop saying that.
It's because you live in Ireland every day. It's rain. I'm like, what happens if it rains there? But
No, in Ireland at the moment, it keeps on looking like it's going to rain, then it doesn't rain. All day.
welcome to Ireland, baby. Ross, speaking of the Tree Arena. Oh, if you are new to the podcast, make sure to like, subscribe, and send it on to a friend. Ross, over the weekend we were at the Tree Arena. You were there on the Thursday and the Friday, but we were both there in attendance on the Friday night for the UFC Fight Pass 360 Productions Callum Walsh against Ronowski. I think we should, like, in the build up to all the fights, it was great, but I think you took over at the press conference. You weren't there to take part. You were there to take over at the press conference, but
Yeah, well, look, in terms of media, I did notice an awful lot of people. There was a few people I did notice, and I was like, right, well, like, I'm going to ask a question, and if no one's there, like, push me on, I'm going to ask every person on stage a question, because I was also fearful that, like, you see some press conferences and, like, not everyone gets a question as well, which I'm not a massive fan of. I was like, right, well, like, those three boxers deserve to be asked a question. And then, like, obviously you can't not ask Dana White a question, Dublin. And then Tom Loeffler's there, and, like, I was like, the career he's had in the boxing industry is probably, like, one of the most underrated careers, like, in boxing management history. So, like, I was like, right, I want to ask him a question as well, because without him seeing Callum in the first place, Dana would never have seen Callum. So it's it was all one trajectory.
effect.
Yeah, butterfly effect. So I was asking the questions. Obviously, you asked Dana when he come back to Dublin. We're told soon. And I was asked when Conor came back. I was told soon. Tried to get him to commit and double down. And I was like, I'm not accepting that. I was like, what about 2025? And he was like, we'll see. I was
You're like 2025, and he was like, what?
So yeah. Then I just wanted to know how Tom thought of Callum's career going forward, and obviously he thinks has a massive bright future, because, like, I think I'm always one of those ones who, like, somewhat skeptical of someone's ability, but, like, he keeps on, like, almost, like, proving his ability time and time out. Just more because, like, you see someone get such a massive push. I feel like if it was MMA, I'd know whether his skill set was going to be incredible or not, if that makes sense. But with boxing, my eye wouldn't be as sharp. So it's, if someone was an MMA phenom, you can see it, as opposed to some boxing phenom, you're like, I don't know the level of caliber of the opponent, regardless of the record. But Callum seems to be fighting better people all the time, picking up the win. So that's great. And then obviously, Emma Brennan, like, he was fighting against Cronin again. A lot of people said that that decision was a robbery, that Cronin won. Interviewed Emma after the fight as well. Might as well just talk about that one while we're here. And he said, look, close fights aren't robberies. He said it was a close fight. Like, it was what it was. We didn't actually get to see a lot of that fight because we were interviewing Thomas Carty at the time. So we can't actually give a valid opinion on it. I haven't watched the fight back. So I didn't get to see that. And then Thomas Carty was there. And look, he's probably the one who you're looking at who, like, based out of Ireland, could be the next big star in Irish boxing.
I'd agree. Yeah, like
I'm not, like, saying excluding Callum Walsh there either. I'm saying, like, he's the Irish based ones. He's the one who looks like he has it all. Like, when he's on the mic, he sort of keeps it short and sweet, but he says the right things. He's very articulate. He can speak fluent Irish, and he knocks people out. Like, what more do you want from someone?
Yeah, I feel like he's just on that cusp, bit like ourselves, bud.
Yeah, I think with him, it's just one of those hard things where you're like, because we don't follow boxing as close as we do MMA, it's very hard to say who's next.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's only easy to say who's next when you get to the very, very upper echelon when all the top contenders are there. So I'd like to see Thomas Carthy fight a ranked opponent next. That's what I'd like to see. I'm not going to pick you a name. I just want to see him fight someone who's ranked on the world stage. I think he's getting in there. He's knocking everyone out, and I think he's got the talent to do it. Like, there's a reason he's been pulled into a Tyson Fury camp before, or an Anthony Joshua fight before. So I want to see that, and then I want to see Callum Walsh fight probably in the States next, and then back to Ireland. And when he fights in the States, I want to see him pack the card out with other Irish talent, because I think that's what's going to help him grow by getting all the Irish eyes on his fights.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was great to have like the All-Irish fight between Emmett and Cronin. Then obviously you have Thomas Carthy on the card, Sean O'Keefe, Craig
Yeah, that was
O'Brien.
bloodbath, by the way, Sean O'Keefe. She absolutely knocked her one around the gaff.
Like the way these all would have brought their own fans, and then together they all like united and supported Callum at the very, very end. They obviously they were supporting on the build-up, but that's how you get more eyes on you. You get the win.
Also, actually, shout out to Craig O'Brien as well. That was a great performance. Fair play to him.
Craig O'Brien, yeah, and also Gareth Dowling,
yeah, the jacker.
Yeah, the jacker, yeah, he got the win as well. No, it's like overall, it was like just a great event. Like even like Callum's ring walk was iconic. At the end, everyone was throwing beer around the place. It was just a great event. It was run very well. Like when it was over, I was like, wow, that like they really pulled it off.
Yeah, they really did. Like it was a fantastic event. It was great to have Dana over, and it was just great to see Irish fighters get a great platform to fight on.
Yeah, and long may it continue. But like the thing is that event had to go that way for the people in charge, like Dana and Tom Lofter, to be like, we're doing this again. Now they're saying they're going to go to Cork. Who knows if that's going to happen? Maybe they could do Tree Arena again. It all depends on like finances, locations, dates, like as you know yourself. But they smashed it out of the park. All the fighters, everyone involved, and I'm just excited to see it again. And Ross, you got a great picture there with Dana White with the Energized glasses, man. I can't believe you made me take that photo and didn't invite me into the photo.
Yeah. Dana White is now the owner of 2 pairs of Energized glasses. What a guy. He thought they were class. He thought it was a great look. And geez, he kept them on his head for a while, and then he put them in his pocket. So Dana White, you're welcome.
And Sean O'Keefe was making them viral.
Yeah, Sean O'Keefe didn't let them leave their head either.
Yeah, another thing, Ross, at the post-fight press conference, you were asking the questions, but one question you asked Dana got everyone in Ireland talking. You asked Dana about
what his favorite food was.
What his favorite food was, man. What's his favorite? Who's his favorite person from Energized? No, out of 2 glasses, which was his favorites? But no, you asked him about Danny McCormack signing with the UFC. First of all, how did that come to your mind? And look what you make of the reaction it got.
No, Danny obviously saw we were at the press conference, and she said, "Look, if you're speaking to Dana tomorrow night, like, please mention my name to him." And of course, like it came into my mind at the press conference, but you know what I mean? You have to be smart about these things. That, you know, obviously the press conference is to build the event in front of you. Once you have the event in front of you done, you can then look at what's in the future. And Danny McCormack wasn't going to fight on Friday night, so the future is after that. So I was like, right, I'll ask about Danny McCormack after that. And Dana was actually wrapping up the press conference. We actually halted the press conference to ask one more question. And I wanted to know, Danny McCormack, former strawweight Invicta champion and winner on road to the UFC. She'll fight at any weight class. Will Dana White get it? And I think he was a bit like, yeah, okay. And then I think I pushed the boat a little bit further. I was like, she'll fight at any weight class, by the way. And then he said done. So I hope he
said, are you her agent?
Well, he did say that as well. So look, I'll take dinner out in the Black Forge and a pint of Forge Irish Stout when we sign. We can all be at the signing party. Me, you, Danny, and Al.
We're having dinner in Danny and Al's house.
All right, we're going to Danny and Al's house, and then they'll have the kids from Relentless batter us.
Yeah. Then, no, overall great event.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait for the next one. Like, but there was also a huge boxing event on over the weekend. I know we touched on it with Dave, but Anthony Joshua versus Dubois,
Which actually
Anthony-
sponsored the Callum Walsh fight.
which did actually sponsor the Callum Walsh fight. Yeah, we didn't find that out till after. But Daniel Dubois knocked out Anthony Joshua in this one. Did you see that going that way, Ross?
I actually thought it was a possibility. I'm not saying I predicted it, but Danny Dubois hits really, really hard, and I don't think AJ's defense is impenetrable. Like going into the fight, like we saw that before against Andy Ruiz that like he can be hit, and we saw against Usyk that like he can sort of. I feel like when the fight's not going AJ's way, he's not actually the best at sort of changing up the game plan and readjusting. And I felt like Dubois came in and had a really good game plan. Obviously, knocked him down towards the end of the first. And I feel like, AJ was in dreamland for majority of the rest of the fight. I felt like he was just about getting his wits together towards the end of the fifth, like as in like his talking was getting a bit better and his movement was getting slightly better. I saw round 3. I think was round 3 the one where he just like fell over.
He fell over twice, yeah. Round 1,
yeah.
round 3, and then he's KO'd round 5, I think it was.
Yeah, so like it was round 5. Obviously, he landed the big shot and he went forward, and he landed another big shot and he went forward again, and then he got absolutely slept. So
just as he was like looking good.
Yeah, exactly. And I was there watching the fight, and I was there with the missus, and she was like, "Should this not be stopped already?" And I was like, "Well, look, like all it takes is one from AJ, and like the fight could completely flip on his head, and it nearly did." But look, Daniel Dubois, man of the moment, gets his hand raised. I suppose, Basmo, the question is, what's next for Daniel Dubois, and what's next for Anthony Joshua?
I don't really know what Joshua will do next. I'm sure they're going to do some sort of rebuild. Like in the build up to this, I just thought he was guaranteed to win it. We have an Energized WhatsApp group. If you want to join it, make sure to send us a message. But everyone in that group had voted that Joshua was going to win. And then Daniel Dubois just came out like a bat out of hell, man. I couldn't believe how fast paced he was coming out at the beginning. It was actually like I couldn't actually comprehend what I was watching because I thought it was just meant to be somewhat of a gimme to Joshua. Like I know I've seen Dubois, like he lost to Usyk before. I felt like didn't Usyk hit him a low blow, or was that it? Did Usyk low blow him or
no? Dubois
hit Usyk,
and it was called a low blow, and it was very questionable.
And it wasn't. Yeah, and then before he definitely, I think he took a knee or he sort of had to stop fighting because he against Joe Joyce. But when I was watching that, I just thought he sort of quit. But like obviously he had fractures in his face, so like that makes perfect sense. So he was sort of painted as like a bit of a quitter. And then Anthony Joshua was coming off 3, if not 4 wins in a row.
Yeah,
and the way he absolutely folded Ngannou after Ngannou being so impressive against Tyson Fury, I just thought like AJ was going to win this one, and we're all going to be like. Because everyone loves talking nice about AJ just as much as they like talking bad about him. And the way Dubois just basically schooled him, looked like he was a million miles better. The world's sort of his oyster now. I presume Dubois will probably take on the winner of Fury Usyk. Depending on who wins between Fury and Usyk, there could be a trilogy. Dubois has already lost to Usyk as well. But Dubois now actually has Usyk's vacant belt. So I think Dubois will fight the winner of that fight. Anthony Joshua, who do I think he could fight? I wouldn't mind seeing him against Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, I suppose
that's a tough fight.
That fight has never come to fruition. I didn't really think about that one for Joshua. I think they're going to do the rematch. I think it's going to be Dubois versus Joshua too.
In Wembley?
Why not? Like that's where the first one was. I think they're going to do the rematch. I think the only way they don't do the rematch is if Usyk beats Fury, Dubois fights Usyk. I don't think Frank Warren will want to do Fury versus Dubois because obviously they're both Queensberry fighters. So I think that's where we might go with that. But again, like Wilder's in the fray as well. Who knows? Maybe Dubois fights Wilder. It's another big fight night for him, and maybe he makes Wilder come to the UK. And although I feel like if they did that, it would be like the O2 as opposed to Wembley, I think.
Well, there's options, but no, I think
although it's hard to go from Joshua in Wembley to then fight in the O2 when you could fight Joshua again in Wembley.
I know, yeah, but they could fight in Riyadh. In Riyadh.
That's true. They could fight in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Although, like, I never, like, in my head, book the fights in Saudi Arabia.
We'll get booking, baby. BKFC, baby. Then, over the weekend as well, Cage Warriors 177 and 178 was on. There wasn't much hype around these cards in Ireland. Like, we had 3 Irish fighters on the cards. There was meant to be more. There was Adam Shelley. He was defeated on the Friday. Dara Ward was defeated on the Saturday, and Matthew Friel was defeated on the Saturday. But Ross, just if I'm going to just mash these 2 cards together, right? Who do you think the overall winner of the weekend was on both Cage Warriors 177 Unplugged and 178 Manchester?
To me, there was 2 big winners. I think Ewan Davis has really cemented himself as a lightweight contender. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see him versus George Hardwick next. I think he looks absolutely phenomenal. He got another first round finish, and Luke Riley as well. Got the follow from Dana White. Got another viral knockout. Tom Aspinall was giving him praise afterwards. It doesn't get much better than that for Luke Riley. That's what I think. And then just to touch on the Irish fighters, obviously not a great result for Adam Shelley. The Dara Ward fight was quite controversial with the tap, and then they finished the round, and then they VAR'd it. I didn't think I can't remember last. I don't know if I've ever seen VAR in Cage Warriors. Obviously it's called instant replay, but I just call it VAR for the sake of it. But yeah, that was look, it was the right call. You could see the tap. Dara Ward still seems to be protesting it, and then Matthew Friel lost a very close split decision. So that was unfortunate. Hopefully he takes a bit of time now to regroup and he doesn't jump into anything too soon, because he's 0-2 as a pro, and I don't think that actually reflects his skill level.
Yeah, especially the way the first fight went. But like, I mean, there's tough competition in Cage Warriors. It's just that the names aren't as big here, so people could be like, "Oh, who is that guy you lost to?"
Exactly, yeah. So
the next Cage Warriors event is 179. That's gonna be in Rome. I think last time they were in Rome, Cain Lochran won the world title.
Oh no, I think they've been back to Rome since then.
Okay,
last time someone Irish fought in Rome, probably. Typical
no, I think Leon Hill fought there recently as well, didn't he?
I think he did, yeah.
Jeez.
Let's see. I'll actually tell you the last time they're in Rome. Rome, Lazio, Patrizzi versus Gerland 2. And I'll see if there's any the rematch. And Gerland won. And there was no Irish on the card, so don't worry about it. And Baz, you always say, I don't care if there's no Irish on the card. Get more Irish on the card.
Making a show of me on this
Typical.
episode. Jesus.
But yeah, 179 Cage Warriors back to Rome, baby.
Yeah, we need another Cage Warriors in Dublin.
Typical,
man. Like, we'll be there as always.
Absolutely. Tell me this, Baz, Mom. Yes or no? Will Danny McCormack's next fight be in the UFC?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah. I don't think that it'll be contenders. I don't think anything else. I think, yeah.
I think it's done, isn't it?
Has to be. Like, I mean, like, where could you put her?
Dana said
it. Before we get into this weekend's UFC Paris, baby, we have to discuss Elite Fighting Championships in Cork 2. Ireland's new pro, Brian Manning, goes 1-0. Ross, what do you make of this guy, Brian? The aura, the fighting style. Do Ireland have a future star in Brian Manning? In Cork's very own, MMA Cork's.
Yeah, I think, look, he's 28 or 29 maybe, so I think he's probably going to do a faster jump in the pro career than most. But look, I think he is an unbelievable character. I think the likes of PFL and Bellator are probably looking at him now. He is someone who looks like... Yeah, potentially as well.
Because he can wear the mask
He
and
could be
stuff.
he could be the new Tobias Harrella. Yeah, I think I'd be looking at him and saying that guy's going to put bums in seats. He's going to create headlines and he entertains. So if I was one of the top promotions, I'd be looking at signing Brian Manning. He also has the skills to pay the bills as well. He got a great finish there, and he has some good finishes in his amateur career as well. So yeah, I'd be a big fan, and I think let's get him signed somewhere good, and let's get him there fast. And fair play to EFC for putting on a show. I know it's not easy to do in the south of Ireland, and they also had two unfortunate pullouts with Abanu Fares and Jack McGuire's opponents both pulling out. So that was really unfortunate for them as well. I'm sure that probably hit them in the pocket. So fair play to Barry O'Callaghan and the team down there at EFC.
Agreed. Let's see when the next event is.
I think they announced it.
Did they announce it? Yeah.
I think it's either sometime in December. I think. EFC 3.
EFC 3 coming soon.
Oh,
dates announced soon.
I just made it up. You better come in December now.
You're making a show of us, man. The pendulum has swung. Ross, this weekend, UFC Paris. Give me a sec. That's going down on Saturday night. In the main event, Renato Moicano is taking on Benoit Saint Denis. Who do you think will win this main event?
I think I'm going to go with Moicano, bud. I'm going to go Moicano.
Why'd you say that? In enemy territory.
I think he's got like brilliant Muay Thai on the feet, and then I also quite rate his submission skills as well. So I also think he eats the shots better. So I think Benoit Saint Denis got shown up a bit when he fought Poirier that he is gettable. I think Moicano will learn from that. I think he's going to be the one who's going to get him.
Okay.
Who's your pick, Wood?
I think right now I could picture a Moicano submission. At the moment, Ross.
At the moment,
we are 17 picks all in our UFC predictions in 2024. That's crazy.
That's my pick.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. It's your pick this weekend, yeah. So at the moment, you're with Moicano. I have a couple of fights on the card as well before we wrap up the show. Nasruddin Imavov is taking on Brendan Allen.
Brendan Allen wins there. He could be the number one contender.
You think so, yeah?
I think he's won like 6 in a row or something at this age.
Morgan Charrier is on the card as well.
Shout out to the Pirate.
Give me a second. Ion Cutelaba, man. This fella, like when he got...
And it sounds like that show needed Reese McKee on it. That's all I'm going to say.
I know, man. Reese
So
McKee.
hopefully we get Reese out soon. What a guy.
And then Chris Duncan's on the card, man.
The problem.
The dunk. What a man. I had to say Chris Duncan as well, Ross, because also this weekend, it's PFL Glasgow. And no less than 3 Irish representatives on the card. SBG Ireland's very own, Matisse, and then the Scazzisi siblings.
Unbelievable
Valentina
stuff.
And Daniele.
I'm here for it. I can't wait to see them go out there and do their thing. And yeah, I think that PFL Glasgow cards is actually a nice card. I think looking forward to watching it and seeing how things go. Disappointed that Dennis Frimpong won't be on the card, but excited to see Lewis McGrillen fill in on short notice.
Yeah, also Kieran McGurk from Team KF was meant to be on the card. Sorry, Capella is on the card as well from SPG. Unless they haven't updated the card. Oh, no, I'm actually not too sure if they haven't updated this card yet. No, because it still says McGurk on the website. Jeez, sort out that website.
So you're back sacked.
The pendulum was swung back, baby. And Stevie Ray in the main event, man. Everyone loves a bit of Stevie Ray.
Yeah, they do.
Ross. UAE Warriors is also on this weekend. Dom Norcus is competing on the card from Team KF. The amount of fights he's had and people have pulled out is actually crazy. So let's see if that one goes down this weekend. Ross.
I think that wraps up the show, Basmo.
Yeah, it was your birthday last weekend. Overall, how did you enjoy it?
Yeah, well, look, got to meet Dana White, got to watch the boxing with my best mate, and then you were there too, so that was great.
Your best mate Dana White. Jeez, what a perfect weekend.
No, it was good time. Enjoyed it.
That was. I mean, like,
we just got to drink some of those beers that got thrown over us, but sure, look. It is what it is.
We're only allowed to drink Fords Irish Stout, the smoothest, creamiest stout in the game.
You better believe it.
Ross, as always, look, it's quite funny we just had Dave Feldman on as well. That's another one on the list.
Yeah.
Who knows when Dana White's going to come on the show again? 2025. Let's make some predictions. At the moment, this weekend, UFC Paris, PFL Glasgow, UAE Warriors. Ross, anything else to say before we wrap things up, bud?
No, just thanks for everyone who reached out to us over the week. The people really seem to enjoy our coverage. People also took bits from our coverage and did news articles on it. On top of that, also, cheers for all the love that we got for supporting Danny McCormack. We just try and do right by the Irish fighters. That's all we try and do all the time. So
as always.
So if you want to see us do more of that, help support us. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Make sure to interact with our posts online and stuff like that. That really helps us grow. And the more we grow, the larger the platform we have, and the more we can help Irish fighters. That's what it's all about. That's what we want to be doing, and that's what we love to do. And as always, stay
energized.
Energized Show, up the Irish. Been sussing you guys a couple of times. I've seen a couple of clips. I think you've done some interviews with Dylan Moran and that I saw. So keep going, keep up the good work, guys.